Get ready, because what we've uncovered is a whole new level of messy, more chaotic than Kirk Frost's DMS on a Friday night. The supposed friendship between Yandy Smith and Rasheeda Frost, it turns out it wasn't what they made it seem. Honestly, it looked more fake than those suspicious surgery ads floating around Instagram, and the one who pulled the lid off it all. None other than Tasha K, the queen of online chaos, who's never afraid to say the things others won't. Now, think about it. Why would Rasheeda, who once broke down in tears on national TV over Kirk's shady behavior, turn around and throw shade at the one woman who always had her back? Yandy stood by her through cheating rumors, side babies, and all kinds of public embarrassment. So what changed? What made Rasheeda suddenly act like their friendship didn't even exist? After everything they went through? Hot tub drama, baby mama cleanups, and being on each other's side for years, Rasheeda acted like Yandy was just some random castmate. And this isn't just about drama for the cameras. We've got leaked messages, insider tips, and plenty of signs that show this. Fallout goes much deeper than what we saw on screen. This isn't just a typical love and hip-hop moment. It's a full-on friendship collapse. No filters, no faking, just facts. So let's rewind for a second. Season after season, fans saw Yandy and Rasheeda stick together through all kinds of chaos. When Kirk was acting out and making headlines for all the wrong reasons, it wasn't his family, his boys, or even Rasheeda's other so-called friends coming to her rescue. It was Yandy. She was there holding her down, cleaning up the emotional mess, and helping Rasheeda keep it together on and off camera. Whether the situation was embarrassing, emotional, or just plain disrespectful, Yandy never left her side. But flash forward to this season, and suddenly Rasheeda is giving interviews, like Yandy was never even a real friend. She didn't say they drifted apart or that there was a falling out. No, Rasheeda flat out said Yandy was never her friend to begin with. Then she doubled down by saying she didn't want to be around someone just because it makes them look good. Excuse me, are we talking about Yandy or your own public image, sis? Let's not pretend Yandy's perfect. Not everyone is a fan of how she handles things. Some say she's too put together. Others think she plans everything too carefully. But even her critics can admit she shows up for her people. When Kirk was out here living wild like a rapper on tour who defended Rasheeda, Yandy, when rumors popped up about hidden apartments, mystery women, and more cheating drama, Yandy still didn't throw her under the bus. And how does Rasheeda respond? By sitting in confessionals next to Kendra Robinson, who practically talks and moves like her clone, and acting like Yandy was never part of her circle, throwing shade like that after everything? That's Olympic-level pettiness. Just when it felt like this couldn't get more dramatic, Tasha K entered the conversation and, you know, she doesn't hold back. She came through swinging with receipts and insider info. According to her, Rasheeda's comments weren't just off the... Tasha claims this whole "we're not really friends" thing was planned in advance. A PR move. Something meant to distance Rasheeda from Yandy just before fresh rumors about Mendice's Yandy's husband started floating around? We'll get into that part soon. But for now, the big question is, why would Rasheeda, someone who's always marketed herself as calm, collected, and classy, go out of her way to take shots at someone who's always been in her corner? We're talking about the same Rasheeda who stayed with Kirk through everything, ran a business with him, and stood by him on national TV no matter how many times he humiliated her. So what gives? Tasha K's sources claim it all boils down to jealousy. According to one insider, Rasheeda never felt totally at ease with how much attention Yandy got. She thought Yandy was too polished and too careful with her brand, basically calling her fake. But here's the thing. Rasheeda has spent the last decade pretending her marriage is picture perfect for the cameras, while Kirk was out here giving Maury storylines every other episode. One anonymous source told Tasha, Rasheeda always had some jealousy when it came to Yandy. She felt like the producers favored her, gave her more airtime, and treated her like royalty, even though she wasn't even from Atlanta. Meanwhile, Rasheeda kept getting dragged back into Kirk's mess over and over, playing cleanup crew every season. Let's go back for a second too, when Rasheeda had a heated moment with a woman named Pressure P, who was rumored to have had some kind of history with Kirk. As usual, Rasheeda walked away from the scene. But Jessica Dime, who had her own thing going on, stayed and literally stepped in physically to defend Rasheeda. She didn't have to, but she did it anyway out of loyalty. Now here we are again, except this time it's Yandy who stood by Rasheeda through thick and thin, only to be dismissed like an outdated clothing line from the press boutique. Yandy never threw dirt on Kirk's name, no matter how much the public was clowning him. She didn't joke about his earrings, his side relationships, or his late-night jacuzzi appearances. She kept it respectful. But the second rumors popped up about Mendice's Yandy's longtime partner being seen with another woman on Rasheeda was quick to throw shade. It wasn't just the timing that caught people off guard, it was how fast Rasheeda went from silent supporter to public critic. That whole confessional scene with Kendra didn't even feel like a genuine chat. Looked staged, like they planned it out ahead of time, probably during brunch. And speaking of Kendra, her inserting herself into this situation was wild, especially considering her own man, Jock, has a history of sketchy behavior. But we'll save that mess for later. The moment that really made the internet lose, it was when Rasheeda said she didn't want to be friends with Yandy, just because it looked good. That one line was like a spark. Twitter blew up. Blogs were posting nonstop and everyone had something to say. Tasha K, never one to stay quiet, went straight in. She posted something along the lines of, Rasheeda got a man who cheats yearly, controls everything financially, and she's worried about loyalty. Check your husband's Snapchat before coming for Yandy. She even joked that Kirk and Mendices should swap shows since at least Mendices knows how to keep things private. But all of this is just the beginning. The Snapchat scandal, the jealousy, and Kendra's side comments were just surface-level mess. The deeper stuff, though, real betrayal starts with how this fallout revealed the shaky foundation of Rasheeda and Yandy's so-called friendship. At first, Rasheeda was right there by Yandy's side. But when the attention shifted, and Yandy started getting more screen time and more respect from the producers, things began to change. Suddenly, Rasheeda was acting different, Tasha K said. This wasn't new. She heard from someone who worked behind the scenes that Rasheeda had always been uncomfortable with Yandy's presence. The source claimed Rasheeda didn't like how Yandy would step up and support other women on the show, made Rasheeda feel overshadowed. She apparently didn't like how clean Yandy's image was either. While Rasheeda was constantly on defense because of Kirk's latest mistake, Yandy was coming off as stable and confident. So was it jealousy, ego, or just two women who couldn't get past their differences? Maybe it was all of the above. But one thing's clear, it wasn't the kind of friendship they tried to sell on camera. That moment where Rasheeda threw shade about Yandy and Mendices' marriage hit especially hard. And yes, Yandy did say years ago that she and Mendices had a wedding, but never officially filed the marriage paperwork. She was upfront about it on camera and explained that she didn't want to be legally tied to his past legal problems. From a personal and business standpoint, that decision made sense. She was thinking about protecting her family and her future. But even with that knowledge, Rasheeda still chose to use it as a low blow, like throwing it in Yandy's face during a time when her own relationship was constantly falling apart. And that's the part that didn't sit right with fans. It didn't look like frustration. It looked like deflection. Instead of owning her own problems, Rasheeda pointed fingers to shift the heat somewhere else. Classic move. The entire situation left fans confused and disappointed. What they thought was a solid bond turned out to be more performative than real. And while Rasheeda and Kendra were busy making slick comments, Yandy stayed mostly silent, choosing to handle things without diving into the drama. But that silence didn't stop people from talking. Because when Tasha K comes with receipts, it's not just gossip any. It's a pattern. The production assistant's claims about behind-the-scenes tension matched what a lot of people suspected, that things were never as friendly as they looked. Yandy's decision not to file the marriage papers may have shocked some, but it wasn't shoddy, it was smart. And unlike Rasheeda, she wasn't constantly on camera dealing with a man who couldn't stay loyal, at least not publicly. So when Rasheeda used that as a reason to shade Yandy, it felt unfair, like she was grasping at straws, just to stay in control of the narrative. In the end, the real issue isn't the Snapchat post or the stage brunch scenes or even the marriage certificate. It's the fact that the friendship many fans rooted for turned out to be full of cracks. And instead of being honest about it, the situation exploded into a public mess. The drama, the jabs, all straight out of a reality TV playbook. But the fallout from this might be bigger than just a storyline, because now people are questioning who's really loyal and who's just playing a role for ratings. And with more receipts coming, especially from Tasha K's sources, this story isn't over yet. There's still more to uncover about the friendships, the feuds, and the fakery happening behind the scenes. Ready for part 3? Rasheeda has built her entire public image around sticking by Kirk through every scandal and mistake. No matter how bad it got, confirmed affairs, side babies, you name it, she stood by him. So it was wild to see her suddenly turning around and criticizing Yandy for doing what most people would call smart. Managing her relationship legally to avoid financial risks. Rasheeda trusted Kirk, a man who's had public slip-ups year after year, to handle her business, her stores, and her finances. And yet she had the nerve to shade Yandy for being cautious. That's not just ironic, it's almost laughable. And let's not ignore Kendra Robinson jumping in to back Rasheeda. The same Kendra who's been stuck in the never-ending drama with Lil Scrappy's cousin, Lil Jock. Their relationship has been a soap opera infidelity. lateness to their wedding, and Jock constantly acting like marriage is just a suggestion. He flirted at his own bachelor party. So when Kendra tries to come for someone else's relationship, it's like, girl, focus on your own. Worry about what's going on in your house before you comment on someone else's. What we're seeing is classic groupthink. Sit someone next to the right people long enough and they start mimicking everything they say. Kendra probably thought siding with Rasheeda gave her authority, like she was stepping into her grown woman role. But all it did was make her look like a backup singer trying to take center stage. Even fans started pointing it out online. Fake tweets went viral saying things like, Kendra worried about Yandy's ring. That's not shade, it's reality. Rasheeda doubting whether Yandy's marriage was real while standing beside a man like Kirk just doesn't make sense. One man can't stay out of scandal. According to her, this jealousy has been building for years. Yandy has her stuff together. Her man doesn't embarrass her every season, and that allegedly made Rasheeda feel some type of way. Tasha even hinted that private messages might exist, showing Rasheeda mocking Yandy behind the scenes. While that part hasn't been confirmed, the idea alone had people shook. And let's not forget, Yandy wasn't just loyal to Rasheeda, she was also there for Kendra. When Kendra was falling apart off camera, Yandy was one of the people who sat with her, tried to help, and kept things quiet. So seeing Kendra turn around and side with Rasheeda just made it all feel extra shady, like a use her then lose her kind of situation. The worst part, Yandy didn't even clap back. No shady tweets, no messy posts, nothing. She just stayed quiet. And sometimes, silence is louder than words. That's why people respected her in this situation. She handled it with class and didn't fall into the drama trap. That's also why Tasha K said Yandy outgrew them. She was never really part of their circle, just too kind to say it out loud. And honestly, that sounds about right. But don't think this mess ends here. The fallout from all this wasn't just emotionally, it started spilling into the business side of things. There were whispers of legal threats, production conflicts, and potential changes behind the scenes of love and hip-hop. When fake friends fall out, it doesn't just hurt feelings, it shakes the whole reality TV setup. After Tasha K dropped her tea, the entire love and hip-hop world started to crack. Producers weren't happy. According to inside sources, the people behind the scenes didn't like that Rasheeda threw Yandy's marriage under the bus on camera. Why? Because Yandy's storyline was still in progress, and that sudden attack wasn't planned. One insider even told Tasha that producers had mapped out the drama to unfold over multiple episodes, but Rasheeda jumped the gun. She dropped the bomb too early and left the editing team scrambling. Now, the show was facing more than just storyline issues. There were talks of having to redo scenes, bring cast members back in for emergency interviews, and even calls for Mona Scott herself to sit the cast down and figure out what the heck happened. When cast members start acting like they run the show, it causes contract problems and behind-the-scenes chaos. And it's not just a production issue, it's a brand issue. So when Rasheeda questioned Yandy's marriage on camera, she didn't just shade hers. She planted doubt in the minds of brands and audiences who support her. She turned a personal jab into a potential PR problem. But Yandy, she stayed cool. She didn't post teary rants on Instagram or throw subliminal shots. She handled it like a woman who's been in this business long enough to know when to keep quiet and let the truth speak for itself. That doesn't mean she didn't respond at all, just not publicly. According to sources, Yandy's team took the situation seriously, especially not when Mendices, for all the online whispers, hasn't been caught doing anything. No screenshots, no secret messages, no mystery hotel receipts. Meanwhile, Kirk's cheating history could probably fill a whole hard drive. So again, does Rasheeda come for Yandy over something that hasn't even been proven, when her own house has been on fire for years? Tasha K didn't back off either. She went live again saying this whole thing was nothing but a distraction. Allegedly, Rasheeda had a brand deal at risk because of more cheating rumors involving Kirk, and she needed to shift the attention fast. And who better to throw into the mix than Yandy, someone with a clean image and a stable family life that would make for a perfect contrast to distract fans from the mess on Rasheeda's end. So while it looked like a random dig on the surface, behind it was a calculated move, one that backfired badly. Because instead of making Yandy look questionable, it only made Rasheeda look bitter. Fans saw right through it. The producers didn't like it, and now the drama is spilling out in ways nobody expected. Now that was low. Social media timelines were full of people dragging her. Tweets said things like, Yandy helped fix your wig every time Kirk embarrassed you, and this is how you pay her back. Others said Rasheeda stayed silent during Kirk's 5-year affair, but suddenly has a lot to say about a wedding certificate. The internet wasn't buying the act. What looked like friendship drama quickly got called what it really was: jealousy dressed up with a glam squad. And when social media flips on you, brands notice too. Reports said pressed ATL, Rasheeda's boutique, saw a noticeable dip in engagement the same week the episode aired. People weren't just criticizing her, they were dragging her store into it. Even worse. Rumors suggest that one of Rasheeda's brand collaborations hit pause not because they cared about the drama. And then there's Kendra. Someone even tweeted a pic of Yandy sipping tea with the caption, "Yandy, watching Rasheeda and Kendra throw shade while her man's not out here multiplying." And honestly, the internet stays undefeated with these comments. But things took a turn when legal talk started entering the chat. According to Tasha K., Yandy's legal team started documenting footage and posts in case things kept escalating. She may not have clapped back on Instagram, but she wasn't letting her name be played with either. If this shade started affecting her business, there were talks of taking it further. So while Rasheeda was out here joking about fake marriages, Yandy was allegedly preparing defamation receipts. No lawsuits have been confirmed yet, but the line's been drawn. If anyone keeps trying to paint her marriage as fake, it might not end with just tweets. And speaking of big showdowns, word is that the reunion episode might be where it all explodes. Not a regular "why you say that" moment. No, we're talking full-on, jaw-dropping, possibly career-shifting confrontation. Mona Scott reportedly loves the drama, but even she's nervous this time. The betrayal cut deep, and the energy between these women could boil over on stage in a way we haven't seen before.